welcome back to another video. So we have been doing all of our work in our API and our backend, and we are finally ready to start working on the front end part of this task or this streak tracker project. So what we're gonna be using React here, and we're just gonna use a create React app today, and we're gonna get that installed, and we're gonna get that hooked up on a container where we can Docker Compose up, and we can build everything. We can build everything, and we can get all our containers all running. And so it should be some more setup today, but we'll be able to, I think, start getting into the actual building of our wireframes in React in the next few videos. So let's go ahead and get started. First thing we've got here is this create React app. Okay, so that's finished downloading. Let's make sure we're also starting a new branch for this. So we'll call it add web container. So we've got our React up. Let's look at our package JSON. This is going to do quite a bit. For now, let's just go ahead and npm start this. npm run start. Oh, we've got to go in our web project, npm start. We should see this pop open. So this is actually on, so this is this is the sample project, and what we can do, so this has hot reload and all that. So let's just go ahead and do test. Once we save, there we go. So we see that this is actually working. What we want to do though is we want to actually get this running in a container as well. So in order to do that, and that way we can just have one file, one command, and we'll just Docker Compose up. That'll turn on our front end, but it'll also get our back end and our database up as well. So in order to do it, let's take our API Docker file and let's copy this in here. We'll call everything web. This is going to be pretty similar. We don't need nodemon though, and we're just going to do npm start when this turns on. Starts, and instead of being on 3000, we're going to put our web project on 8000. And so because of that, we're going to come in here and look where we're trying to use 3000. We'll put it on 8000 in our React app. Let's see if in fact, I'm not sure. That changed the docs, but I don't know if we are actually going to, we might still be listening on 3000 in here. So we might actually have to eject. But we will see. I mean, I suppose we could keep this. You know what we'll do? We will keep this at the defaults. So we'll put us back at 3000. Let's move this guy. So we were on 8000, and we're going to put him back on 3000. And what we're going to do is we're going to actually take our API and we'll move that to 8000. So we'll just do a search for, so we're not exposing, we're going to expose 8000 in our Docker file, our Docker Compose. We're going to map 8000 to 8000. Expose 8000 here. And in our server itself, we want to make sure that we are listening to 8000. Okay, so we are going to spin up a web container service, and we're going to copy over a lot. So this is going to be on 3000. This is on our web. We are going to mount our web folder to the container, and that way our changes automatically get pushed to our container when we're running. We're going to say our web project depends on our API. And we're not going to use any environment variables for this here. And let's close this up a little bit. So that's looking good. Let's come up and we're going to Docker Compose build everything. Okay, our Docker build up is done. So now we're going to do a Docker Compose, or a Docker Compose build is done. Now we're going to do a Docker Compose up, and we should see everything spin up. So we've got our database, our API was spun up, and then our web project was actually started. And so that's what we would expect. One of your dependencies, everything's looking good and compiled. If we go to 3000, we should see our host. We should see our container. So this actually looks great here. And we'll do another test as well. And we'll just say test 1, 2, 3. And we see that that's actually coming over. Perfect. So that's going to be it for today's video. What we are going to be doing in our next video is we will grab the wireframes of our front end project and we will start to implement those. And then pretty shortly after that, we'll actually start hooking up to our database, to our API, and getting a real, or actually getting some persistence from the UI. So we'll see you next time.